The knock came just after midnight, 3 soft taps that somehow cut through the hum of my air conditioner. I looked at the clock, then at the dark hallway outside my bedroom. Nobody visited this late. Nobody except one person who lived on the other side of our apartment. When I opened the door, my roommate Emma stood there wearing a simple light blue robe, damp strands of hair clinging to her forehead from the unbearable heat. She hugged herself and managed a nervous smile. "My AC finally gave up," she whispered. Then, after a pause that seemed to last forever, she added, "Can I sleep in here tonight?" I thought it would be the most awkward night of my life. I had no idea it would become the night that changed everything. Some moments arrive quietly, disguised as ordinary inconveniences, only to reveal themselves later as the turning points that divide life into before and after. This is one of those stories. It's about 2 people sharing an apartment, carrying invisible burdens neither had ever dared to confess. It is about loneliness hiding behind polite smiles, about trust growing in unexpected places, and about how one unbearably hot summer night melted walls that years of conversation never could. Before we begin, if you enjoy emotional and inspiring stories like this, make sure to support the channel by liking this video, subscribing, and sharing your thoughts in the comments. Your support helps us bring more powerful stories of kindness, hope, and humanity. Emma had moved into the apartment 6 months earlier after answering an online listing I almost deleted. I had been living alone since my older brother got married, and rent kept climbing. Finding a roommate seemed like the practical solution, but I wasn't excited about sharing my space with a stranger. Then Emma walked through the front door carrying a single suitcase, smiled politely, and somehow made the apartment feel less empty before she even unpacked. She was 26, worked remotely as a graphic designer, and loved old movies. Every Sunday she baked something sweet, insisting I try it even when I protested that I was trying to eat healthier. She laughed easily, but only for short moments. The laughter disappeared as quickly as it arrived, replaced by thoughtful silence that hinted at stories she never told. We became comfortable roommates without becoming close friends. We split groceries, argued over whose turn it was to wash dishes, and occasionally watched television together. There was an invisible line between us, respectful but firm. Neither of us crossed it. Then the heatwave arrived. The city seemed to melt beneath the relentless sun. Sidewalks shimmered. Cars overheated. Even after midnight, the air felt heavy enough to wear like another layer of clothing. Everyone complained, but inside our apartment, my bedroom remained cool thanks to an old air conditioner I'd repaired the previous spring. Emma's unit had always been unreliable, rattling loudly whenever she switched it on. "It'll survive one more summer," she'd joked 2 days earlier. Apparently, it hadn't. Standing in my doorway, she looked embarrassed. "I tried opening the windows," she said softly. "It's even hotter." I glanced toward the hallway where warm air drifted from her room like it came from an oven. "Of course," I answered. "Take the bed. I'll sleep on the couch." Her eyes widened. "No. That's your room. You're the one overheating." She hesitated before shaking her head. "We'll figure something else out." A strange silence settled between us. Finally, I pulled an extra blanket from the closet. "The bed's big enough." She looked at me carefully, searching my face for any sign of discomfort. "You sure?" I nodded. "We're adults." She smiled with obvious relief. "Thank you." 10 minutes later she returned carrying only a pillow and a small stuffed penguin that looked hilariously out of place. I couldn't help smiling. "You sleep with that?" She blushed. "My grandmother gave it to me before she passed away." "I'm sorry." "It's okay," she whispered. "It helps." We arranged ourselves on opposite sides of the bed with enough space between us to fit another person. The room stayed comfortably cool while the city outside struggled through another suffocating night. Neither of us fell asleep. "You awake?" Emma asked into the darkness. "Yeah. My dad used to fix air conditioners." "Really?" "He could repair almost anything." "What happened?" She didn't answer immediately. "He left." The words hung quietly in the room. "I was 12. I'm sorry." She shrugged even though I could barely see her. "My mom always said not everyone who leaves stops loving you. Sometimes people just don't know how to stay." I stared at the ceiling. My mom used to say something similar. Emma turned toward me. You too. My parents divorced when I was 13. For the first time since we'd met, conversation flowed without hesitation. We weren't talking like roommates anymore. We were talking like two people finally setting down heavy backpacks they'd carried for years. Around 2 in the morning she laughed unexpectedly. I can't believe we're discussing childhood trauma because an air conditioner broke. I laughed too. Life has strange timing. The following morning, sunlight crept through the curtains. I woke first. Emma was still asleep, curled around the stuffed penguin with the peaceful expression of someone who hadn't rested properly in weeks. I quietly left the room to make breakfast. When she eventually appeared in the kitchen, her hair was messy and her cheeks turned pink. I didn't mean to sleep so late. You looked like you needed it. She accepted the coffee I handed her. I did. Over pancakes she admitted something she'd never mentioned before. I haven't really been sleeping. Work stress. She shook her head. Nightmares. I didn't push for details. Instead I simply listened. Sometimes that's enough. That evening I came home carrying a toolbox. Emma looked confused. What are you doing? Trying to save your AC. You don't have to. I know. 2 hours later the living room floor was covered with screws, dusty filters, and instruction manuals pulled from the internet. Emma sat beside me handing over tools whenever I asked. This feels like surgery, she joked. It basically is. After another hour the machine coughed once, rattled twice, then began blowing wonderfully cold air. Emma clapped her hands. No way. I grinned. Told you. Without thinking, she threw her arms around me. The hug lasted only a second before she stepped back, clearly embarrassed. Sorry. You don't have to apologize. She smiled in a way I'd never seen before, completely genuine, completely unguarded. Over the next few days something changed between us. Dinner conversations became longer. Movie nights became regular. We learned each other's favorite songs. She confessed she secretly wanted to write children's books someday. I admitted I'd always dreamed of opening my own repair business instead of working endless office hours. Neither dream sounded impossible when the other person listened. Then one rainy evening, nearly a week after the heatwave finally broke, I returned home to find Emma sitting alone on the balcony. Her phone rested beside her. Her eyes were red. I stepped outside quietly. You okay? She looked at me for a long moment before answering. My dad called today. She swallowed hard. For the first time, in 9 years.